In this video, I am going to discuss a very critical element of strategy making, especially disruptive strategy. The importance of systems thinking. While you are on the strategy table, this thought process decides how capable your strategy would be going ahead in terms of adapting and adopting to the emerging situation. When you start to devise your strategy, there is always an attraction to stick to linear thought process. What linear thought process means is that there would be some of the elements of your strategy which you would think are cast in stone and you would never need, or you would never even think of changing those elements in your strategy. And that's where the problem lies. The basic ingredient of a strong and a working strategy is that from the very beginning itself, when you are devising the strategy or you are on the strategy table to devise that particular strategy, you always have a systems thinking. What systems thinking means is that no element which could or which is relevant to the strategy making is left out as something that cannot happen and that should not be considered. A robust strategy always takes care of every single element of the piece that can come up or that can contribute or that may prove hindrance to a strategy today, tomorrow, or going ahead. It's very difficult to get into that kind of systems thinking while you are getting into a disruptive strategy or a strategy for a business, because it always seems that something which is not fitting into your game plan is not worth even considering. And more often than not, people have found that if you have considered as many elements as possible while you are devising the strategy, the chances of your failure get minimized, as against keeping your strategy based mostly on the linear thought process, which are rigid. A systems thinking means that on your table of strategy, you are bringing in all the elements that can contribute or that are even remotely connected to something that may happen while you are executing your project, bringing in your product in the market, or dealing with the service that you think as your product. I'll give you a simple example. If you are devising a product which relates to some kind of an app for students, then you would always think from the student's perspective what could work for them and what cannot work for them. Here, it will be great if you can bring in the perspective of teachers also, those who are teaching across levels. Now, these will be the people who would be telling you what works for the students and what cannot work for the student, or what you should take into care when you are devising an app for the students. And in this whole study, when you are doing mapping for who should be consulted and who should not be consulted, it will not be a bad idea to also consider views from those who are into marketing of those kind of products. You may find people who have worked on those kind of apps which have not succeeded, being very, very important as an element in terms of providing you the kind of insight that would be required while you reach a stage in the implementation of your app or the working of your business where things start going awry. The basic point here is that whenever you are getting into strategy for a product or a service, do keep in mind that you have covered most of the aspects which could be relevant going ahead in your business, rather than just sticking to a rigid thought process which takes you to a situation where the chances of adapting or adopting become minimal. Thanks for watching, and I'll keep coming back with these kind of insights and videos. Thank you.